Is Amazon deleting comments from its Lord of the Rings of Power YouTube trailer? Let's find out on this latest episode of Out Loud Geek. Welcome to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss science fiction, fantasy, cooking, the outdoors, and more. Website Bounding Into Comics is reporting that Amazon is actively deleting comments from its Lord of the Rings of Power trailer on its Prime Video YouTube channel. YouTuber Disparu discovered this yesterday and shared a video on the topic. Since Amazon posted the trailer for its upcoming Rings of Power show on February 13th, 2022, tens of thousands of longtime fans of J.R.R. Tolkien's immortal works from around the world have criticized the show's obvious deviations from Tolkien by posting negative comments on the video. Much of the criticism is due to race swapping of many of the upcoming show's characters. In a puff piece written for Vanity Fair last month, executive producer Lindsay Weber attempted to justify the race swapping because she believes that the show should, quote, reflect what the world actually looks like, unquote. A show that is supposed to be portraying the fictional world of Middle-earth created by J.R.R. Tolkien should be based on his descriptions of Middle-earth, not on the actual real world. In our sixth video entitled, How Important is Suspension of Disbelief, which we posted in July of 2021, we talked about how J.R.R. Tolkien provided insight on suspension of disbelief in his 1939 essay entitled On Fairy Stories. In it, he proposed that for a narrative to be successful, an audience must be able to become immersed within the narrative, and that immersion can only occur if the audience achieves what Tolkien referred to as secondary belief, which he described as an audience's ability to perceive that what they are reading or viewing is true within the context of an internally consistent fictional world that the author has created. Tolkien then went on to say that if an author fails to create secondary belief, the audience will no longer be immersed in the story. And from that point onward, the audience must then make a conscious effort to suspend their disbelief or abandon the narrative altogether. In my own experience, works of science fiction and fantasy that unexpectedly become inconsistent within their own fictional universes are the ones that I begin to lose interest in because I begin to question what's happening and can no longer suspend my disbelief. And that's the key here with Lord of the Rings of Power. Once audience members began to think logically and critically about the work of fantasy that's supposed to be based on the world of J.R.R. Tolkien, they were unable to suspend their disbelief because the changes being made are internally inconsistent with Tolkien's Middle-earth. So even before the show has premiered, executive producer Lindsay Weber and showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay have already lost much of their audience because of how far they have deviated from Tolkien's vision. And the race swapping isn't the show's only problem with fans. The showrunners have also completely done away with Tolkien's timeline and are justifying it by saying, if you are true to the exact letter of the law, you are going to be telling a story in which your human characters are dying off every season because you're jumping 200 years in time, and then you're not meeting really big, important canon characters until season 4. What's genuinely troubling here is that Payne and McKay appear to believe that they can do Tolkien better than Tolkien himself. That was demonstrated by Patrick McKay when he told Vanity Fair that the driving question behind the show was, quote, can we come up with the novel Tolkien never wrote and do it as the mega event series that could only happen now, unquote. Perhaps he and showrunner J.D. Payne are not familiar with the biblical saying, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. This also flies in the face to what Peter Jackson said when he was filming the Lord of the Rings trilogy 20 years ago. As filmmakers, as writers, we had no interest whatsoever in putting our junk, our baggage into these movies. We just thought we should take what Tolkien cared about clearly. We should take those and we should put them in the film. This should ultimately be Tolkien's film. It shouldn't be ours. And what are the bulk of the 22,000 plus comments that Amazon's Prime Video YouTube channel has been deleting from their trailer? Direct Tolkien quotes. Many quoted what Frodo Baggins said to Samwise Gamgee in The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. The shadow that bred them can only mock. It cannot make. Not real new things of its own. I don't think it gave life to the orcs. It only ruined them and twisted them. And if they are to live at all, they have to live like other living creatures. Amazon also deleted comments that contain this quote that has been attributed to J.R.R. Tolkien. Evil is not able to create anything new. It can only distort and destroy what has been invented or made by the forces of good. I completely agree with YouTuber Disparu when he states in his video, the strength of that message was that everyone was unified using the same voice to say the same message, and there was nothing for them, meaning Amazon, to grasp onto. There was a solid, clear wall, which all of their normal attacks and just accusing people of being ists and phobes and everything, none of them had anything to grasp onto because it was a comment more about the production itself. And all of the journalists who tried to attack those people failed. Amazon's act of deleting over 22,000 comments that were posted on their trailer by longtime J.R.R. Tolkien fans who had merely quoted Tolkien was an act of cowardice and an acknowledgement that they are unable to address the fans' concerns. Lindsay Weber, J.D. Payne, and Patrick McKay are just like Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm, who believe that they can bastardize other people's works with impunity and that they know better than the creators of those works themselves. And as we posted in yesterday's video about George Lucas and Kathleen Kennedy receiving a Joint Producers Guild Award, great science fiction and fantasy franchises are works of art. Tampering with them destroys them. And this is what Hollywood is now rewarding. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button below. And if you'd like to see more of our videos in the future, please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the red subscribe button. And please feel free to leave a comment. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.